questions and answers, probably at the end after the two presentations. And there is the chat button, which I'm sure you're all familiar with on Zoom now. So if anyone would like to put any questions onto that, then we can answer those in due course. Right, no more from me. Time to do the talking now from the experts. First of all, we go to Valerie, who's based in Lagos. Valerie, over to you, please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for logging into this webinar. My name is Valerie Agodo, a trade consultant in Nigeria. So the reason for this webinar is to provide information about Nigeria. So basically what I'm going to do is give you an overview of Nigeria, the demographics, and also some of the challenges that Nigerian companies are facing. And then we'll also drill down into talking about some of the sectors. And the sectors we're going to focus on are sectors that the government has provided regulations and also incentives for development and also for foreign investment. So if you just bear with me, I'll just switch over to my presentation slide. So basically, Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa. I mean, we have a GDP of about $450 billion. We have a population of over 201 million, and our per capita income is $2,200. So Nigeria is the largest economy, followed by South Africa, and also by third is Egypt. So this is just to give basic information about Nigeria. Like I said, we have a population of 201 million approximately. It's expected to increase to 401 million by 2050, according to the UN projections. Nigeria accounts for 47% of West Africa's population. We have one of the largest youth populations in the world. We have half of the country's 200 million people under the age of 30. So this means that Nigeria has a very huge consumer market. So goods that come into Nigeria sell. We have an abundance of natural resources, the largest natural gas reserve on the continent. We are Africa's largest oil exporter. And on the ease of doing business, I mean, we have done considerably well. Nigeria now ranks 131 out of 190 countries in the World Bank's 2020 ease of doing business. So we moved up 15 places. The World Bank projects that our economic activities will shrink by 3.2% in 2020, and this is the worst contraction in 4 decades. Again, this is brought on by all the issues around the COVID-19 pandemic. So Nigeria, so FDIs as well has plunged by 22%. And also to $934.34 million in 2019. Most of the capital inflows in Nigeria come from the UK, so we have about $11 billion from the UK, US, South Africa, $2.35 billion, and so forth. So I'll just talk briefly, about the challenges that businesses face. And this survey was done by the Central Bank of Nigeria. And basically, it's been the same thing year in, year out. So issues around insufficient power supply, high interest rates, as much as 30%. We have an unfavorable business climate, although they're trying to do a lot of work in that area. And also sometimes there's a lack of clarity in government policies. And again, access to finance is an issue in businesses face in Nigeria. So the COVID-19 has impacted Nigeria as it has impacted other countries. So in Nigeria, we have sustained 2 shocks in 2020. So there's the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic, and also there was the crash in global oil prices. So the twin shocks have devastated businesses and the economy, resulting in disruptions in supply chains and production slowdown. Our GDP is expected to shrink by 3.2%. Earnings from crude oil sale is projected to decline by 90% following the reduction in global demand. Our budget has been reviewed downwards, but 2020 budget has been reviewed downwards by 3.3 trillion naira. The oil benchmark was revised from $57 per barrel to $30 per barrel, and also the production has reduced from 2.8 million barrels to 1.70 million barrels per day. As a result of the lockdown, government has had to introduce bailout packages for households and businesses affected, and this is the intention is to help restart and rebuild the economy. Then local production as well has actually been a focus for the government. I mean, with the disruptions in supply chain, the government is looking inwards and encouraging local production, local services, local innovation, and the use of local materials. I mean, the option of importation is only to support local production. And there is actually an opportunity there for international or foreign companies, because there's a need to support local industry. So there's also been trade and investment disruptions, and the decline in economic activities has, due to the lockdown, has caused a sharp slowdown in trade investment across the country. So I want to talk briefly about some of the government's response to the COVID and what the government is doing to restart the economy. So the Central Bank of Nigeria has provided a 3.5 trillion naira stimulus package targeted at households, businesses, manufacturers, and also the healthcare providers. So briefly, 50 billion has been targeted to help households and MSCs across the country. 100 billion naira is to provide support to the healthcare sector, and it's really to help local firms support their value chain to build capacity and expansion within those industries. 1 trillion naira has been injected to support the manufacturing sector, again to boost local manufacturing and production across critical sectors. Then the Central Bank of Nigeria has also reduced interest rate on all its interventions from 9% to 5%, effective from 1st March, and it's expected to revert to 9% on the 28th of February 2021. And there's also been a 12-month moratorium on all CBN interventions. So apart from the interventions, they have also put forward some policies to support the development of particular sectors. I won't go through all of them, and the list here doesn't show the full, but the policies are intermediate, short-term, mid-term policies. But basically, if you go through the slide, you'll see that, again, the 1 trillion facility is to boost manufacturing and production across critical sectors. Again, they're trying to improve the foreign exchange supply and provide more access to critical companies that need it for critical services. And also, they're looking at expanding the manufacturing sector. Now I'll come to agriculture. So the reason I gave you the statistics and information is just to let you know that in the particular sectors that the government is really, really doing a lot and concentrating on. So with a combination of policies, regulations, access to finance, they're trying to develop these sectors. So the agriculture sector is one of the sectors that has shown a marked improvement because of government interventions. So basically, in Nigeria, we have a total land mass of 92.4 million hectares. Our arable land is about 82 million hectares, but less than 50% of that land is actually being used, cultivated. The contribution to GDP is 25%. And then between 2016 and 2018, our export earnings from agriculture was 0.53 trillion naira. However, our import bill between that same period was $2.39 trillion. This is to show that there's a lot of import dependency in Nigeria. I mean, we're the largest producer of cassava in Africa, we're the largest producer of rice, and at the same time, we're also the largest importer of rice globally. So these are the reasons. There's a lot of foreign exchange drain out of the country. So the government is trying to look inwards to build local production, local capacity with the support of foreign investments and foreign technologies. So develop a local supply chain so that we can achieve self-sufficiency in food production, increase local production, create jobs. Again, they're looking at increasing the value additions across key agriculture sector. So, so most times what Nigeria does is that they export primary produce. However, value additions are done overseas, and then they import it at a much more expensive price. So what Nigeria is trying to do is create value additions within the local industry, so that we can gain foreign exchange earnings from agriculture. So some of the challenges in agriculture are the proliferation of smallholder farms. I mean, we have farms in many farms in Nigeria that are very small. 80% of them are less than 5 hectares. Then reliance on rain, manual labor, and so many things that cause low production. There's limited access to markets, there's poor technology, low research and development, and also there's another challenge is the financing of the agricultural value chain. So for example, sorry, wait a minute. So, for example, in Nigeria, the commercial banks in Nigeria, their exposure to agricultural lending is less than 2%, which just shows that there's not a lot of access and there's not a lot of availability for funds for farmers. So this slide just basically shows you some of the government's interventions in agriculture. So I'm not going to go through these interventions, but basically what they do is they're there to support both smallholder farmers and also the big ticket projects. So they can have access finance within any of those schemes, and some of them come with training, some of them come with other technical support. So I'll talk to you about the Nigeria NIRSAL, which is the Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Learning, NIRSAL. So what NIRSAL does is a public-private initiative to catalyze the flow of finance and investment to the fixed agricultural value chain. And the hope is that they de-risk agriculture and facilitate agricultural agribusiness. So NIRSAL was incorporated in 2013, the PPP between the CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, and the Nigerian Bankers Committee. So again, like I said, it was to tackle and support the agricultural value chain. So their objective is to raise a commercial bank agricultural lending portfolio from the current to 7% by 2016, expand insurance coverage, and also expand commercial lending to 3.8 million smallholder farmers by 2026. So, so what NIRSAL has done is that they have created a GEO-COOPERATIve model. And under that model, what they have done is that they have developed a mapping to markets concept. It's an innovative approach that brings farmers together in organized and structured geo-clusters or geo-cells to facilitate access to structured finance, quality inputs, monitoring weather information, aggregated services, and structured markets. So rather than having a scattered system, what they have done is they've pulled everything together and structured farm holdings into clusters. I'll just go forward and show you a picture example. Okay. So for instance, farmers with plots of say between 0.5 to 1 hectare, 100 to 200 hectares. Then again, maybe farmers again with maybe about 10 hectares are clustered together into small clusters. So that's the way they're working. So by pulling all these clusters together, the idea is that there'll be economies of scale because investors or people who want to support those productions or those farm holdings are not working with smallholder farms, but they're working with aggregated structures. So the idea is that it will optimize the production level, increase productivity, and also reduce post-harvest loss, which is at 40%. So okay, let me just show you. So this is another diagram to show you what it looks like. So on the left is how it was a disaggregated farming, where people were just farming in small clusters in small farm holdings. But this NIRSAL model, what they've done is they've pulled all farm holdings into geo clusters. And so anybody or any investor that wants to say provide say storage facility or any support, they can work directly with a cluster, which is a group of aggregated farm holdings. So, and again, with this geo-cooperative model, every request from a primary producer is referenced to this map, and the system is referenced to this map. And so, if, for instance, the farmer is looking at or is looking to produce cocoa, for instance, it's referenced to the map, and they're given information of what cluster, what group, what sector in Nigeria or what area in Nigeria has the best climate and crop, soil or whatever, to produce high yields. So this just gives you a sample of the agricultural value chain. So, so the NIRSAL have put them into sections. So there's the pre-upstream, and along all these value chains, there are opportunities for investment. So in the pre-upstream, which is like before production or pre-production or pre-farming, so there's opportunities for providing for land clearing, providing equipment, seeds, good seeds, and things like that. There's the upstream is for the primary producers. Again, there are opportunities there to support that sector or that segment. And then the midstream is the value addition, which Nigeria is really, really particular about. How we can provide some value additions to the crops or to whatever that is being produced or farmed, so that it can to put it in that it can be exported at a better price. And also then there's the downstream again, industrial processors, again, export brokers, people who would support the export of these produce. So the whole idea then is that with this geo-mapping and this grouping into clusters, again, it allows for clusters to access finance as a group. It allows them to access inputs as a group. It allows investors or to play in clusters, and then it also allows them to have a structured market for export. So this just shows you some of NIRSAL's some results that they have been able to achieve in the few years that they have been in operation. So they have attracted investment of about 119 billion, created jobs for over 400,000 people, impacted lives of over 2 million people, and so on and so forth. So I'll just basically talk about the southwest of Nigeria. So the southwest, there are 5 southwest states in Nigeria: Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, and Ondo. And again, agriculture is very key for these states. So what they have done is developed a regional approach, because they have a common goal of food security, agro-industrial development, increasing production and creating jobs. Again, so what they've done is work as a group, the states have worked as a group to ensure that they are not reproducing the same things across each state. So what they've done is embarked on a set of common institutional and organizational strategies for transforming the agriculture through policies and investment. They're prioritizing value chains in food and export commodities. They're supporting private sector interests, and will provide land, open up rural production areas with the construction of rural roads. They're just generally triggering a synergy through cooperatives that will lead to the establishment of cottage industries and linkages to financial institutions for credit. So, so the sector opportunities again in the agriculture sector, provision of land. Some of them are provision of land for clearing, mechanization, greenhouse and energy technology, specialized crop, livestock chain services, again, small and large scale processing equipment. So there are a lot of opportunities along the agricultural value chain, and the government has actually put in place policies, regulations, and also provided the capital to make sure that the sector is well developed. I just basically, this is basically talking about Lagos State, which has the largest market in Nigeria of over 222 million people. And again, they have a roadmap again for agriculture. And I just wanted to talk about two particular opportunities. So Lagos State is establishing a wholesale food produce market to international standard, and the opportunities for providing cold and dry storage facilities, fruit storage, fruit and vegetable distribution centers, abattoir and meat processing facilities, health and safety as well, and then also training. And they're also setting up a rice mill, which is 75% complete, and when completed, it will be the 5th largest in the world and create jobs for over 300,000 people along the value chain. Again, there are a lot of opportunities within the sector. So I'll now come to the healthcare sector. Again, like I said, I purposely selected sectors where the government is providing a lot of opportunities and also a lot of policies and regulations to support investment in these sectors. Now, the healthcare sector in Nigeria, demand has outstripped supply, and there's a range of opportunities for foreign investment and expertise. I mean, the domestic healthcare sector is estimated to be worth about $5 billion US. Nigerians spend more than $1 billion US on about 4 million medical treatments abroad. So there's a lot of medical tourism in Nigeria. And then over 90% of the population is living without health insurance coverage. I mean, our healthcare sector is dismal. I mean, these statistics shows the Africa's biggest economy, and you can see that Nigeria is performing poorly on all those indices. So the sector has been suffering from neglect by the government over the years, and the health crisis brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the weakness of the healthcare sector. I mean, for instance, the government, there's a low federal and state budgetary allocation for the healthcare sector. Allocations for healthcare declined from 5.9% in 2012 to 4% in 2018. This is well short of the target set by the 2011 Abuja conference, where the African Union members pledged to spend at least 15% of public spending towards healthcare. And there's also the lack of interest from the government to develop the sector. But of course, with the issues with COVID-19, there's now a renewed interest and a renewed commitment to actually develop that sector. Again, there's been no funding for R&D. The facilities are poorly equipped. There's paucity of medical personnel to drain. So Nigeria has approximately 72,000 registered doctors, and only 40,000 are presently practicing in the country. Then also the local pharmaceutical companies struggle to manufacture drugs, and they're heavily dependent on imports for medical supplies. So the government is now committed to developing this sector, and some of the interventions they're looking at is revitalizing like 10,000 primary health centers, establishing at least one primary health center in every ward, using PPP to develop at least one mega health center in each state, adopting an e-health scheme, and encouraging medical professionals in diaspora to volunteer to come back to Nigeria. Again, with the issues around COVID-19, there's a renewed commitment to work with stakeholders to design and implement policies that will strengthen the healthcare system and expand access to affordable services. So the government is injecting 100 billion naira into the healthcare sector to provide and establishing advanced diagnostic and healthcare centers, expanding pharmaceutical plants for essential drugs and intravenous fluids, and also the deposit money banks are encouraged to offer and disperse funds to healthcare operators along the value chain. So some of the opportunities in the sector. I mean, like I said, Nigeria spends about $1 billion on medical treatment abroad. Again, there are opportunities for global hospital management to leverage on their international brand, international trust in their brand to manage the healthcare facilities in Nigeria, and also implement innovative technology to develop our industry. Again, there's opportunities for the provision of digital medical telemedicine platforms to address the shortage of healthcare workforce and also increase scope and access of penetration of health services. The African telemedicine market is expected to grow from 18 billion in 2015 to about 41 billion in 2021. Again, there are opportunities for project management of services for the transition of medical equipment from isolation centers to primary health centers post-COVID. I mean, Nigeria needs a lot of support in the healthcare sector because the performance has been dismal, and so there's a lot of opportunities along the value chain. Again, in pharmaceutical, Nigeria spends about 6 billion on importation of vaccines and drugs. I mean, the country's pharmaceutical market is worth about $2 billion, and only 11 out of 130 companies are listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So again, there's potential for foreign firms or UK firms to collaborate with smaller Nigerian players who need funding, technical expertise to expand in the regional market. Local companies are also seeking alternative sources of raw material, finished and allied products. And then there's the opportunity to explore provision of new technologies and machinery, and also energy saving technologies for their manufacturing plants. I'll just talk about the technology sector. So Nigeria has a vibrant and growing tech sector. The ICT contribution to GDP was less than 1% in 2021, it's now almost 10% in 2018. We have surpassed South Africa to emerge as the premier investment destination with 55 active tech hubs, raising a total of $94.9 million US dollars. South Africa only raised $60 million US dollars. We have the biggest technology market with 23% of internet users in Africa. We have the largest number of telecommunications subscribers with a tele-density figure of almost 90%. And Nigeria actually spends $600 million daily on airtime and data. So the tech sector provides a vital source for strengthening the value chains of the sectors, especially with the the issues around COVID. So this shows you a quick diagram of what sectors where that there's been foreign injection of foreign investment in the tech subsectors. So the most has gone to fintech, then clean tech, then e-commerce, and you can see that healthcare has the least injection of foreign direct investment. So the opportunities exist in providing digital technology platforms to fill the gap and strengthen the value chain of other sectors. So there are opportunities in the education, edutech, maybe to provide, I mean, these are just some examples, but there are loads of other examples, but the provision of digital system to make learning more accessible and effective. Fintech, maybe engagement to engage segments of the population that can't access traditional financial services, accounting and bookkeeping apps to support SMEs, because there's a lot of the SMEs need a lot of support. So there are opportunities to develop applications that can help them grow the business. Then there's the agri-tech, maybe technologies to provide farmers with market linkages, training, financial services that will lead to increased production, growth, and employment. And also the healthcare sector, there are opportunities to provide digital solutions to support diagnostic services, probably apps that enable remote access to medical advise and detect counterfeit medicine. And there's the light manufacturing sector. Again, the government, like I mentioned before, government focus is to look inwards and to source and produce locally. So they want to reduce import dependency, they want to preserve foreign exchange, develop local manufacturing facilities, and create the much needed supply chain across industries. So despite the fact that the government is looking inwards, they do not have the technology to actually develop these sectors. So again, there's a huge opportunity for UK companies to come in and work alongside local manufacturers to develop their processes. So onshoring has the potential to reduce Nigeria's import bill for manufactured goods by $11 billion. So this just briefly shows you the subsectors within light manufacturing and what they have been spending on importation. So electronics, phones, $33.4 million US, TV equipment, $121 million, refrigerators, $83 million. So the opportunities here again are partnership opportunities to provide technology, equipment, and services to develop the local production processes, again, energy management solutions, and also trading as well. And this is my last slide, and this slide basically, goes out of Nigeria. So we're talking about the African Continental Free Trade Area. It's actually almost like the EU, where the Africa as a continent is coming together to provide a free trade area of about 1.2 billion people, and the hope is that. And a GDP of $2.5 trillion, and promises to be the largest trading bloc in the world. It will grow intra-Africa trade beyond its current level of approximately 17%. It will eliminate barriers to trade and harmonize standards on the continent. 54 countries have already signed onto the agreement, and Eritrea is the only country that has yet to sign. So the agreement was supposed to be implemented July this year, but due to COVID, it has been postponed to next year. So the reason I'm talking about this is because there are opportunities to invest in the Nigerian manufacturing value chain, because working in partnership with local firms would help reduce cost of production, and also thereby improving our competitiveness across Africa. So it's an opportunity for UK firms to come in and work, support or partner with local firms, and also derive and use that as a route to a conduit to enter the African markets. So that's it from me. I just want to briefly talk about my company in Herts Services. We're a trade promotion, advisory, and facilitation company. I personally have over 16 years of experience in trade promotion work. Part of it was at the Department for International Trade. We have some strong sectoral networks in Nigeria and Sub-Saharan Africa. We provide trade advisory services and market entry support to international clients in the Nigerian market. So we provide market research, identification of potential business partners, B2B, trade mission support, and also in-country logistics support. So what our aim is to provide our clients with the confidence to explore the market. So as a company, we have membership across Lagos. We're members of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It is the largest city chamber in Nigeria. We work with the Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce, with the Nigerian Brazilian Chamber of Commerce. We also are members of the US Consulate Business Unit, and also the Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce and the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. So what we do is that we support member companies in these multiplier associations with their commercial caseloads. So we have strategic relationships with the Swiss Trade Consult in Lagos, supports Swiss companies who want to enter the Nigerian market. We work alongside the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria and the Nigerian Water and Sanitary Association, and we are also members of the Africa Franchise Center. So basically, this is just to give you an idea of the depth of our relationship and how we are able to support any inquiries into the country. So our success story, I just listed just a few of the work success stories and also some of the ongoing projects that we have on board. So we have supported the UK tech company that builds language apps for call centers, and we help them enter the market, and they sealed partnerships with 2 of the call centers in 2 of Nigeria's leading banks. We supported a UK manufacturer of socks to enter the market by providing a market research report and also connections to some of the educational institutions. We supported the UK insurance company that was launching an international health insurance product in the Nigerian market. Again, we have a UK company who a provider of telemedicine who is interested in the Nigerian market, and we're presently providing support to linkages to corporate organizations. We're presently working on a joint partnership within the company in the UK and a Luxembourg company to establish an agro processing zone in Badagry, Lagos. Also working with an investment firm to raise finance for a Nigerian bank. And also we're working on the market research for a UK company looking to deploy its waste-to-energy technology in Nigeria. So those are some of the interventions that we have provided to foreign companies. I'll be happy to support I'll be happy to answer any questions at the end of this presentation, and thank you very much.
Valerie, thank you for, and there's an awful lot of information there, but it is a very big country. We are running a little bit late. We do have to finish at 12. So if I quickly move on to Glory for your bit about Abuja and the north, I think. Okay, over to Glory. Thank you. Glory, are you there? Glory? Ah, yeah.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, Glory,
Hello?
you'll have to get a move on. Okay, we can all hear you. Okay.
Okay, good morning. I'll just move on to my slides. And thanks to Valerie for sharing that very detailed presentation. If you just give me a minute, I'll just try to share my screen. Thank you.
Okay, while Glory's doing that, are there any questions for Valerie at this stage while Glory's just setting herself up? Any questions about Nigeria in general, anything that she said? For me, it's good to hear that UK is still the highest investor, $11 billion, and it's raised up to 15 points on the ease of doing business. So the government must be doing something right. So that's really, really good news. And from what I gathered from that is, as I already knew, there's an awful lot of opportunities there in Nigeria, without a shadow of a doubt. So Glory, are you ready, or Glory's frozen again? Not doing very well. Okay, any questions for Valerie, please? No questions, okay. Glory? There's one from Christina. What would you recommend to a UK manufacturer of vitamin supplements What would you recommend to a UK manufacturer of vitamin supplements to introduce their brand in the Nigerian country smoothly? We're in the process of registering one product through NAFDAC, and we know it's quite demanding. Valerie, over to you while Glory gets herself sorted. Can you answer that one? Valerie? Valerie, can you hear me? You're on mute. Mute. Unmute.
Okay, sorry. Can you repeat the question, please?
Sorry, my thing slipped. What would you recommend to a UK manufacturer of vitamin supplements to introduce their brand in the Nigerian country smoothly? We're in the process of registering one product through NAFDAC, and we know it's quite demanding.
Okay, so like I said in the presentation, there are a lot of indigenous companies that are looking to partner with foreign firms, again to help with they're looking for input and of technology and also of brands as well. So what happens is that a lot of them imports of these brands from outside the country, especially in Nigeria. So if they do have the opportunity to work with, say, a UK company who wants to provide medical supplies, they're very open to work with them, because what it does is that it gives them a lot of leverage in the market, and it helps them have a guaranteed supply chain route of a particular product. So yes, what I would say is that again, you need to do market research to look at the properly investigate the market, look at see if there are any competitors and things like that, and then following on that we can actually do an introduction to some of the companies. But yes, there is an opportunity for that.
Thank you. Christina, did that answer your question? Was that okay? Okay. Thank you. And Glory, any news from Abuja?
I'm sorry, I'm having a bit of problem sharing my slides. I was hoping
we gathered that. Yeah. Any other questions at all from anybody else? Christina's come back, says thanks. Yes, it was helpful. So thank you, Christina, for that.
So can I just talk through the presentation?
Yeah, sure. Go for it. We've got about 15-ish minutes and Q&A to get into any more Q&A after that. So over to you, Glory.
All right. Thanks. So my apologies for the slight delay. I'm not sure what's wrong with my screen. Anyway, so I'm going to just narrow down my presentation to commercial opportunities in the FCT and Northern Nigeria. And I hope I'll make the slides available to everyone participating. So basically, the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, serves as the capital of Nigeria and houses the three arms of government, specifically executive, legislative, and judiciary. The total population is estimated at over 3.2 million and currently has the fourth biggest metropolitan population in Nigeria after Lagos, Ibadan, and Kano. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. The presence of numerous ministries and departments and agencies, foreign embassies, and its strategic location in the heart of the nation has led to significant infrastructural investment in the city, resulting in ranking among the fastest growing cities globally. It's also reported that one of the wealthiest urban areas in Africa, and it plays home to some of the richest people on the continent. So I'll move on to commercial opportunities in international aid and development. So despite its vast resources, Nigeria ranks among the most unequal countries in the world, according to the UN. The poverty in the northern states is in stark contrast to the more developed southern states. And ironically, as Abuja is home to some of the wealthiest people in the country, in contrast, her surrounding states harbor some of the poorest. So this has necessitated the advent of many international donor agencies and privately owned foundations that are delivering aid mainly in healthcare, agriculture, education, and water. The programs are geared towards achieving the following developmental goals: to reduce global poverty and improving living standards, to support sustainable economic growth, and developing regional cooperation. So I have a slide here just depicting some of the donor agencies that are really active in the market. And of course, we know that the UK Department for International
Glory, we've lost you. Glory?
Can you hear?
Yep, we can now. We did lose you. Carry on. We've got about 10 minutes to go.
Over that, okay. So I saw like highlighted some 10 factors that are affecting productive capacity in the market. Valerie expatiated on all that, but it's basically the size of the workforce, entrepreneurship, productivity of labor, technology and innovation, political stability, access to capital, corruption, law, order and security, taxation, policy and public sector investment, raw materials and access to land. So these opportunities have been created by development and humanitarian aid programs and are funded through international financial institutions and multilateral development banks. So the opportunity types for you fall into 3 broad categories: development aid, humanitarian aid, and to supply directly to development agencies themselves via corporate procurement. Supply of goods and services needed by the states to carry out in-country projects. Projects tend to be long-term and in a wide range of areas, ranging from agriculture, healthcare, telecoms, education, and infrastructure. Many export opportunities for UK companies are present either as prime contractors themselves or as suppliers of goods and services to prime contractors. So I have a slide here just depicting the EU and UN representatives delivering medical supplies to aid COVID-19 efforts. So this is a great opportunity for healthcare companies. And I highlighted a few success stories, how we supported a UK company who was awarded contracts with 5 states to set up fish farming across those states. We also assisted a UK company to supply industrial tractor equipment to a leasing agri-tech company in the north. There's also some in education, successful UK schools exhibitions, which has now expanded into Ghana. And then we supported a UK education company to set up STEM labs across the geopolitical regions of the country. There's also a UK company who designs, integrates, and manufactures and delivers banknotes, banknote paper, polymer, and security features to ensure the Nigerian currency is secured against the threat of counterfeit and fraud. And there's a British manufacturer of high-performance civil engineering materials, testing equipment for building of federal roads. So those are just a few companies that we have supported. And our partners here, we work with the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council. They're all listed here. You will receive the presentation so you can have a better look at it. And then who we are, we're an innovative and dynamic management consulting firm based in the FCT. The company offers business advisory, international trade promotion, and facilitation services to both our Nigerian and foreign clients. We are your feet on ground. We can help you navigate the market by working on virtual itineraries with meetings held online. We can also provide preliminary information on the business environment and the expectations for when the effects of the pandemic abate in the country. All in all, we can lighten your load in this trying time and keep you still connected to #Nigeria. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them. And you will have a copy of the presentations. I'm really sorry that we're not able to share the screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Glory. And I think you've actually sent through the presentation to myself and Alison, so we'll get that out after this to everybody who's been on the call. Valerie, yours as well. Will you be able to send them over to us? Perhaps after we'll send them round. Great, thank you. In our last 5 minutes or so, any questions from anybody at all? Ideal opportunity. You've got somebody in the commercial capital, Lagos, and the rural capital of Nigeria, Abuja. Any questions at all? Great. Well, okay. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for taking part. Sorry we've had one or two technical issues, but it's not always easy across across continents, as it were. I say we'll get the slides out to you. If you've got any queries going forward about Nigeria or something you think tomorrow, oh, I should have asked this, then do please let us know. Either ask us or go direct to Glory or Valerie. We can put you in touch. And we are here very much to help you on the export side with your documentation at the Chamber. Really, I think that's it. Look out for the next one in the series. It's be coming up soon, next month. Thank you so much for your time in this sweltering Hertfordshire. It's as hot here as it is in Nigeria at the moment, trust me. But thank you so much for taking part. Have a good rest of the day, and all the very best to you all. Thanks, and thanks to Valerie and Glory. Thanks a lot now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye all. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.